The Silk Road wasn't just a series of ancient trade routes, it was the backbone of a global connection that shaped the course of history. For centuries, it bridged the East and West, carrying not just goods like silk and spices, but ideas, religions, and innovations that transformed entire civilizations. But beyond the trade and travel, there are hidden stories, lost cultures, and untold mysteries that make the Silk Road one of the most fascinating networks in human history. Join us as we uncover the secret history of the Silk Road and explore how it truly connected the world. The birth of the Silk Road. The Silk Road's origins can be traced back to the 2nd century BCE during the reign of the Han Dynasty in China. It wasn't a single, established road, but rather a collection of trade routes that gradually evolved over time. The initial purpose of these routes was to transport luxury goods, especially silk, from China to Central Asia and beyond. As trade flourished, other goods such as spices, tea, porcelain, and precious metals began to travel along these routes. The Silk Road's development was spurred by the need for Chinese products in distant lands, and this trade became an essential link between East and West, sparking the first large-scale global exchange of goods and culture. Over time, the Silk Road grew, connecting distant civilizations, including the Persian Empire, the Roman Empire, and India. These interconnected routes traversed some of the most difficult terrain on Earth, including deserts, mountains, and vast steppes. However, the routes were not just about trade. They were also vital for the exchange of ideas, technologies, and even religions. The spread of Buddhism from India to China, for example, was facilitated by the very same routes used to transport silk. Thus, the birth of the Silk Road was not only about commerce, but also about the merging of cultures and the exchange of knowledge, laying the foundation for a connected world. A bridge between two worlds. The Silk Road's significance went far beyond the exchange of goods. It served as a crucial bridge between two vastly different worlds. On one side, there was the ancient and sophisticated civilization of China, with its advanced technologies and rich cultural heritage. On the other, there were empires like Rome, Persia, and India, each with their own distinct cultures and innovations. As goods like silk, spices, and precious metals were transported across the vast distances of the Silk Road, they carried with them not only material wealth, but also intellectual and cultural treasures. The flow of ideas, religions, and philosophies across this network transformed societies on both ends of the trade route. Perhaps the most notable example of cultural exchange was the spread of Buddhism from India to China. Similarly, the knowledge of astronomy, medicine, and mathematics from the Greek and Persian worlds made its way eastward, impacting Chinese thought and innovation. The Silk Road acted as a conduit for the spread of innovations like papermaking and gunpowder from China, while Europe and the Middle East shared their advancements in architecture, philosophy, and engineering. Through this dynamic exchange, the Silk Road became a symbol of how trade routes were not only about commerce, but also about shaping the intellectual and cultural fabric of the world. The role of the nomads. While the great empires like China, Persia, and Rome are often associated with the Silk Road, the nomadic tribes of Central Asia were equally essential in making the route a success. These nomads, including the Scythians, Parthians, and later the Mongols, controlled vast stretches of the land between the major empires. Their ability to navigate the harsh terrain, from deserts to mountains, made them invaluable in facilitating trade and communication across long distances. These tribes acted as intermediaries, guiding caravans, ensuring safe passage, and negotiating between the various cultures and empires that the Silk Road connected. In addition to their role as traders and guides, the nomads also helped protect the Silk Road from bandits and hostile forces. Their highly skilled horseback riders and military expertise allowed them to maintain a sense of order along the route, which was crucial for trade. Many nomadic groups set up trade posts or acted as local authorities in regions along the route, influencing the flow of goods and ideas. Without the nomadic tribes, the vast stretches of the Silk Road would have been far more dangerous and fragmented, making the trade networks far less effective. These nomads, with their deep knowledge of the land and strategic positioning, were key players in the success of the Silk Road's cultural and economic exchanges. The influence of the Mongol Empire. The Mongol Empire, under the leadership of Genghis Khan and his successors, played a transformative role in the history of the Silk Road. In the 13th century, the Mongols managed to unite a vast swath of land stretching from China to Eastern Europe, an area that had previously been divided among numerous smaller kingdoms and empires. This unification brought a period of unprecedented peace and stability known as the Pax Mongolica. Under Mongol rule, the Silk Road flourished as merchants, scholars, and travelers could traverse the empire with a sense of security that had previously been impossible due to constant wars and raids. The Mongols actively encouraged trade, making it easier to move goods across the empire's borders and facilitated communication between the East and the West. Additionally, the Mongols promoted the exchange of knowledge, fostering an environment where the ideas and technologies of different cultures could be shared. They were instrumental in introducing new agricultural practices and technologies, such as gunpowder, which had significant effects on both Eastern and Western societies. The Mongols also played a key role in the spread of the Black Death, which, although devastating, highlighted the interconnectedness of Eurasian trade and the far-reaching impact of the Silk Road. Despite their reputation as fierce conquerors, the Mongols' governance of the Silk Road demonstrated the potential of a unified empire in enabling the global exchange of goods, cultures, and ideas. The fall of the Silk Road. The decline of the Silk Road can be attributed to several key factors that emerged over the course of the 15th century, which became more efficient and cost-effective for transporting goods over long distances. The development of oceanic exploration, particularly by European powers such as Portugal and Spain, offered safer and faster alternatives to the overland routes. These sea routes allowed for the movement of goods between Europe, Africa, and Asia without the perilous journeys through the dangerous deserts and mountains of Central Asia. As the world turned to the seas, the once thriving Silk Road gradually lost its importance as a primary trade network. Additionally, political instability played a critical role in the Silk Road's decline. The Mongol Empire, which had unified much of the route, fractured into several smaller kingdoms, leading to a breakdown of the Pax Mongolica. This instability made the roads less secure for travelers and merchants. The rise of new empires in the region, such as the Ottoman Empire, also shifted trade dynamics as the Ottomans controlled key routes and taxed goods moving through their territory. Furthermore, the spread of the Black Death in the 14th century had devastating effects on populations along the Silk Road, further disrupting trade and travel. By the end of the 15th century, the Silk Road had largely fallen into disuse, its once vibrant markets replaced by a new era of global maritime commerce. The legacy of the Silk Road today. Even though the physical routes of the Silk Road no longer exist in the same form, its legacy continues to shape our world today. The exchanges that took place along the Silk Road were pivotal in fostering globalization, long before the modern era of communication and transportation. Innovations such as papermaking, gunpowder, and printing spread from China to the West, while Western knowledge in areas like astronomy, medicine, and architecture found its way to the East. The Silk Road was instrumental in bridging the cultural gap between distant civilizations, and many of the ideas, technologies, and art forms that emerged from this interaction continue to influence modern culture and science. In recent years, there has been a renewed interest in reviving the spirit of the Silk Road. China's Belt and Road Initiative, launched in the 21st century, aims to recreate the ancient trade network by building infrastructure to connect countries across Asia, Europe, and Africa. This modern version of the Silk Road is intended to foster economic growth, cultural exchange, and international cooperation, echoing the same goals of connectivity and collaboration that the ancient Silk Road championed. The ongoing influence of the Silk Road reminds us of the power of trade and cultural exchange in shaping the global landscape, proving that the routes of the past still echo in our interconnected world today. The Silk Road was more than just a series of trade routes. It was a vital connector of civilizations, a bridge between cultures, and a catalyst for the exchange of ideas, innovations, and knowledge. Its impact can still be felt in our modern world, from the technologies we use to the way we connect with people across the globe. The story of the Silk Road reminds us that the exchange of goods and ideas has the power to shape history and change the course of civilizations. What do you think would have happened if the Silk Road had never existed? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more fascinating stories from history that continue to shape our world today.